Mimi nafaa kuwa worried that Kfcb watakuja wani arrest in the middle of the night and also am I selfish for thinking that this is something that every Kenyan should be worried about as long as you have a smartphone?
Ikonini.
Vile unacheki jo niko this is a special show ile tumekuletea ka ushaisikia gani kiteta niko nateta sana juu ya Kfcb. Alafu of course nikaambiwa get a lawyer, nikabaki nipata lawyer. Huyu ni Marc Chirchir, ni aje?
Ni popo.
Umeko practice law for how long?
This is my second year now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Because unakalika umekuwa in the game for long like
no, not very long. But passionate about what I do, which is public interest litigation. Very passionate about it. So sana unaniona nikiteta hizi vitu.
So what's public interest litigation kwa msele?
Public interest it's a wide area of the law. By and large unaongelea stories things that affect the public law, public policy, things that it's not just the circumstances of any particular individual, but you look at things that, say this Kfcb thing that we are working on right now, it's not just you as a podcaster or other podcasters, but it's anyone who takes films and what, so those kind of things. It's very wide. That's what I can say.
Okay. So tutaingia kwa hizo stories za Kfcb. But before that I want to get like your views on a few things. The Russia fire. Is there anything that the parents can do? Ama is this one of the things where the school just gets away with it?
No. The school should not be allowed to get away with it. Reason being, from what I've seen, I could be wrong, is that the door was locked from outside.
Yes.
That we need certain types of regulations and what on how to handle specifically school dormitories. I don't think we have, because I think from the time there was a fire in the early 2000s, this thing it needs to come to an end. I think there's more that can be done. There's more that can be done in terms of regulations, in terms of sensitization, and also just the mindset. You know, I've read somewhere that the most similar institution to a prison is a school.
Yes, especially a boarding school.
So we can't continue like that. We are a developing country. We are well ahead in very many areas now. Tukiendelea namna hii and that kind of thinking, we are just waiting for another tragedy, which is most unfortunate.
Because I had the story that kids as young as 9 years old walikuwa wamefungiwa kwa hii place. So you can try and a kid who's 9 years old should have like a certain level of adult supervision that is more than kumfungia kwa dom na kwenda. I feel like there needs to be an adult somewhere ule like hata nalala nao. I think kitambo you'd have the matron sleeping there, and you know just in case, you know, a kid can have a fever breakout, and you know those things are terrible. So that's why I'm saying there's a lot to be done in terms of regulations. Having someone held responsible would also, you know, just as a measure to teach other schools that first and foremost these are human beings. And unfortunately kids don't get treated that way. It's like a processing line where this is wrong. It's wrong. So there's a lot to be done in terms of the framework of how what would you say, how you take care of kids, how you that whole space is a lot of work to be done in the legal space, in the in teachers and whatnot. There's quite a bit, and in the law, just because of my background, there's a principle that we use called the best interest of the child. It's at all times you must cater to the best interest of the child if you have one under your care. So if I mean, I fail to see how locking a child in a dormitory so that they can quote unquote sleep
rest and for the night is helpful. I don't think that's in the best interest of that child.
Because I think they'll argue that it's for the safety of the kid, so the kid is not stolen or the kid does not wander about at night.
Bro, but are those animals?
No,
nah. Those that's a very old way of thinking. We need to have a more, I tend to think when catering to kids and what, you need to have child psychologists there, professionals from different fields, which I doubt has been done. But it's room for improvement. I'm hopeful. I always tend to think, I believe, just my personal philosophy is that government works for the people, or should work for the people. And it's at least I'm hopeful that we can chart a way forward. Whether or not that will be done remains to be seen.
Because another thing you saw, like when the parents went to see their kids, some parents could not trace their kids. I think at some point because some kind of 70 kids were missing. Yeah,
missing, and then they say the kids, warudishe, bring them back to.
Then unaambia atikuleni chakula. I'm just thinking like that also shows the way the school is so desensitized. That if someone thinks they've lost their child, the last thing they want to do is eat.
In fact, you tend to lose your appetite.
So that was that. Another sad thing that happened over here weekend, there was an accident, I think in a on Thika Road, where there's a lorry that had stalled, alafu msee akakuja akabaki ameingia na kadedi. Alafu when I saw that, I ended up tweeting about it, and squeezy imefika level where I feel like my tweets are always going to offend someone. So hata niko na plan kwanza kuenjoy, say like before tuanze show nitakuwa nikipatia us to disclaimer. A lot of disclaimers nakwanga whatever is expressed on this show is not a reflection. Mimi nataka tukwambia watu you might get your feelings hurt, but it's not about your feelings. So niko na bonga juu ya Kenya. I feel like trucks stalling in the middle of the road has been normalized so much, and the damage that happens like does to other motorists, where you're just driving, you don't expect a truck mbele yako, so tuseme una drive even if it's at 60 km, by the time unaona truck unaweza shindwa kustop, unacheki, and then you end up dying. Alafu watu everyone is there like it's an accident. I feel like some of these things the truck driver has to have a certain level of personal responsibility, where gari kistol in the middle of the road, there has to be,
you have to take it off the road.
There has to be a way to take it off the road. Kama si hivyo, we live in time here where flashlights unaweza zicharge hata na USB. There needs to be something to warn motorists that kuna gari imestall.
This is going to sound like we rehearsed it, but I am very passionate about road safety. It's one of the areas of the law, and the whole space around road safety is also not very well developed. We just have a general idea of what it should be. Kenya, I have seen we have a very strange road safety plan, which is only for government vehicles. We have a road safety plan strictly, and if you count government vehicles, as is kufika 10k, but Kenyan, I think we have about 1 to 2 million vehicles on the road.
So there is a Nini for government, so the way we clear the road for them?
No. Road safety for them. So there are certain things that they must have in their car, like flares and reflectors. So upon them, I mean, whether or not they follow it is a whole other story, but at least the plan is there. So when you look at road safety for like me and you who just drive our personal vehicles, tumeachiwa nini? There's something called NTSA as a National Safety Action Plan or something like that, and which has never been implemented. Part of it you'll see is those traffic lights, spot checks, what have you, as joining. Fun fact, I also know that Kenya, we're roughly about 194 countries that have stats on this. In terms of road safety, Kenya is I think 168 or something. So one of the last countries in terms of safety. We're very badly off. This is again just gonna sound like we asked this, but Kenya has we have 28 deaths per 100,000. Deaths on road safety are measured per 100k. Kenya is 28. If you look at the countries which are doing quite well, they're usually using Apple 3-4, but you notice those are also very developed countries.
Yes.
But Kenya is doing quite, in that regard, we are not doing well. And it's a historic problem. Haikuanza jana.
Yes.
Or within the last 1-2 years. It's something that has been going on for quite some time. Something that we need to look at. So spot checks, how does NTSA know if your vehicle is roadworthy?
Yes.
In fact, if the guys who would be most happy to push such an agenda is insurance, because insurance would want to know we are going to value this car at this much because we know, first of all, the driver is like Moaf, does not get into accidents. Yes. Moaf has a good track record, and his vehicle is road. It can be driven on the road properly. Hakuna break it will fail later on. It's something that we need urgently. Sio yeah. Because
vile umesema hivyo nimegoogle haraka because most of our cars are from Japan. Yeah. So sisi ni 28 deaths per 100,000. Yeah. Kwa hiyo nimeandika Japan but wameandika per 10,000 which I can now take to 100. Wasema ni 0.4 deaths per 10,000. That means 4 per 100,000. That means Kenyan road accident is 7 times higher than Japan. 7 times.
Sasa unaona.
And you're there thinking like, why? Because you can imagine the way Japan has so many cars, the probability of accident should be higher in Japan than CC.
Japan has one of the best, when you look at how they build their roads, Japan, I've looked at it, Japan has one of the most interesting road systems. Road in Toshana. In fact, this penye tukosai tuna record, this is larger than some of the roads in Japan. Yeah. So when you widen the road, you tend to, if you look at like Wayaki Way right now, ukienda huko juu, wachana na hapa chini Wayaki Way pale towards Kikuyu. Yeah. Bro, that's there, it's a normal thing. When you widen the road, it tends to make very unsafe. I remember seeing a video, very strange. Unajua vile watu wanasema umeleta maendeleo, you guys are happy, guys are celebrating. So I saw a video of the governor of Nairobi. Alikuwa ameenda kufungua barabara.
Huyu president?
No, the president governor, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So guys were like, guys, no, stop. We don't want this road. So guys, he's asking, hey, barabara mnakata, is like, they're like, yeah, hii barabara itaua watu. So just leave it with the potholes, leave it with what that thing is keeping us safe as it is.
Because over speeding.
Yeah, over speeding and whatnot. So they're just like, just leave it. Asisi hatuna shida, weka stima nini, but leave the road as it is. Yeah, that way we know guys won't die. Unfortunately, I've come to realize the Roads Act, the way it's designed as is 2007, is designed in such a way that it measures success in roads. Yes. In terms of kilometers constructed. So, but when you look at success now for you and me who use the road, did I get home safely? Was a child able to cross, an elderly person? Yeah. That kind of thing. So, when you're circling back to what you're talking about, the guy who passed on because he was hit by a truck.
He hit a truck that had stalled in the middle of the road.
Yes, there is liability upon the guy who was driving the truck. Yeah, definitely. But there is also an issue of systemic negligence. Unfortunately, fixing roads is a very expensive affair. Yeah, you can start looking at budgets in the hundreds of billions of shillings. Yeah, so whenever you see roads, for me, I find to be a very dicey issue. Doing a good road, there's only one street, I think in the whole of Kenya, well at least Nairobi upon street zangu, that I like. Okay. That is Aga Khan Walk. It's not even a road. It's just like ukiona huko, it looks like ndio kuna watu wanakuja napiga makelele nini, but it's fine, that's the culture of Nairobi. But it's very nice that you're not fighting with anyone for way. You can sit down, you can have your electricity house hapo nini unajua. It's for me, that's the only thing, that's the only place in terms of roads that I think was built with people in mind. Yeah.
Because tunakuaga na hiyo tuko na stories zingine za hii countries za kudepress. But another interesting story happened this year, and ile ilifanya wasa kaanza kuharas Edwin Sifuna was the story about the conflict of interest bill. Did you call it?
Yeah, I saw it.
So it was basically that we are changing the laws so that government can be able to do business with government officials. Is that constitutional? Like, can that be argued? Even if it passes via the Senate, can it be argued to be unconstitutional?
I think it can pass, honestly. I think it can pass. Is it right? Is a whole other different question.
Yes.
Of course not. I don't agree that active government officials, especially at that level, should be participating in the award of government contracts and what have you. At some point in time, you have to ask yourself, are you working for your country or are you working for yourself? Especially when you're giving out government contracts. It's a very moral ethical question, because I don't just think it's this administration. If you look at the last administration, the one before that, it's something that I don't know how we will do it as Kenyans, because a while ago, there was not too long ago, 2, maybe 3 years ago, there was this whole concept of ukifungua kampuni, you have the owner, then you have the beneficial owner, and it shows who gains from this companies that do business with government. And even after that passed, has much changed? Not really. It's it's one of those things that we need to ask ourselves. We have a whole chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity. If you want to be in government, you have to abide by that chapter of the Constitution. Do people abide by it? Generally speaking, the feel of the public is that no. How to instill public confidence and to show good leadership in that regard is a whole other conversation.
Okay, because with that pia kuna article ilitokea. So that article kunasema Auditor General reveals that President Ruto's Weston Hotel has secured 37 government contracts worth 57.9 million since September 2022, despite winning only 11 million before his presidency. So this goes to election kwa nasema. Do you think that pia the presidential whatever wanafaa comment, because mufil ni kama there has to be public relations, ni very important. Hii pia vile nasema inafaa kwa inaweza kuwa ni story ya job, but don't can story ya job. Let me see if it's on the reputable websites.
The big media houses.
Yes. But unafilaje, like, do you feel like we need to, cause
I haven't followed that story. I haven't seen it, I must be honest, but
would you react if you were the president?
If I was the
because yes, it's money in your pocket, but it's money that comes with, even if it's genuine, it comes with a certain conflict of interest thinking.
I just think in general, the president needs a better communications way to do things. And also, I don't know. I don't think I have the capacity to advise him. It's just that's just a story. I feel that he is very dicey. I haven't seen it. I must be honest. I've just heard it from you. I would have to look at it.
Because the funny thing about it is, I thought I'd seen it in a reputable Nini, but yes, so it was in one of those whatever websites, and but I think I'd seen it on also one of the reputable Nini. But nasema tu conflict of interest inakuonyesha vile Kenya tuko na very whatever to go, because Trump na Kamala saizi, they can't, wakishaingia kwa ofisi, they will not be allowed to do any business with the government.
Really, they have laws. I haven't seen.
Alafu kitu moja nimeka kunotice na states ni some things are not even written in law. Like for a very long time, history presidential term limits was not there.
That I do know. It wasn't there for.
It was more of a gentleman agreement.
They've only had it for about 10-12 presidencies. Started in mid-20th century.
I think after me FDR
because he served 4 terms.
Yes. After ukasema like but akina George Washington, it was more of imetosha.
Sisi
George Washington wetu Jomo Kenyatta But sasa tukibonga juu ya law, sasa tubonga juu ya story ya KFCB. So kwa watu wajui, mi na Marc, I think hii time unatuona, this is the first time tumepatana like physically, but tumekuwa tukibonga for long, because the first time ile tulianza kubonga ni time nilikuwa nimetravel. After the time nimetravel nikapata letter. So your letter, the funny thing is I woke up at a place that was, I think if I'm not wrong, 8 hours behind Kenya. So when you wake up 8 hours, that email was not there. And if it's 8 hours, that means it's already past 4 p.m. Then at around 5 p.m. ya Kenya, which is 9 a.m. huko, I receive a letter, and the letter said that nime break laws za Kenya, nimekuwa nikipost on YouTube without getting approval from Kenya Film,
in violation of section 4 of the Films and Stage Plays Act.
So nakunganikiwa na hii kitu. So do you know my first reaction was what? I actually wrote to people. So I think nikaandikia Abel Mtua, nikaandikia Obina. I asked a few people like, hey, umepata hii letter? Yes, wako like, hey. Last now I go on Twitter, napata, as you know, on Instagram, napata wasa wamezipost nini. So eventually talked to a friend of mine, an author, anaitwa Abigail Runga, and that's how to end up to me.
Abby is my friend as well.
Yes, to end up to me connect. So when you saw that letter, what was your first reaction?
First of all, I think very few days have made me happy like that. Sorry, for you it was a bad day. Me, it made me kabambika sana. The reason being I'd been handling another case I told you about it, similar to that. And when I saw that letter came out, I knew it was in reaction to the previous case I was holding.
So any case gani you can talk about it?
Yeah, I can talk about it. Handling a brief on behalf of a gentleman by the name William Getumbe. He's a content creator as well, although his content is most interesting.
Yes. William Getumbe. Yesu ni nyandue nipe mimba ya imani. I reached out to him to tell him, hey, Appa, you know, I looked at what he did, and I was just like, fine. And I have told him as much. Getumbe, what you have done is very strange. Yes.
But what law are you breaking? And then, you know, he was charged under section. Actually, Getumbe's story is, you had it easy. Getumbe was arrested at night.
Oh, okay.
He was arrested at night. He has small kids. Yes. At night they came for him. They bashed down his door. They said, "We have come for you, Nini." I think they tracked his phone and and they found out that he was at home. And you know, when you look at the charge that they raised against him, it was a violation of failing to get a film license. That's it. That's what they charged him with. Now you'd expect, you know, we have other offenses that you could have, because what he did was a bit peculiar. But to charge him under section 4 and say that
failing to get a film license.
Failing to get a film license. That one was a bit. I asked myself, what do we do? So that's actually just to give you a history of the brief. I reached out to him. I told him, listen, I'm just very passionate about public interest litigation. Don't want a cent from you. We should clear 2 filing fees, which is paid to the judiciary.
Yes.
Me, I'll do the rest of the work. Pro bono. So I did that, prepared a brief and presented it in court. Took a bit of time, but eventually we did get to exchanging of pleadings. It's not yet determined, but we are basically done with his case. So when we did exchange pleadings now, I sent them what is called a replying affidavit.
Okay. Still KFCB still?
Yeah, I was still in KFCB, sorry. A supplementary affidavit on the same. About a week later, in the all content, one of the issues I brought up was discrimination.
Yes.
I said that, listen, this guy is one guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's just one guy he did very strange stuff, but he said he's just making his content.
Yeah.
So when I sent them that, I think they felt that, okay, we have to show that it's everyone who's being regulated. That's what I suspect happened.
Okay.
I can't say for certain, but I am just guessing. That's what happened. So then they sent it out to you, they sent it out to all the big content creators, and they said that this is what is going on. So we did file a second brief now on your behalf. And
was that break it down or to your any Macarius Onyango Uma versus Kfcb Inspector General of Police?
In fact, one of the people, because of the nature of the arrest that happened to Getumbe, I had wanted to protect all other content creators. Although the constitutional court in Milimani is very packed, so they're hearing things very slowly. In fact, at the time there were only 2 judges. It's become so slow they added a 3rd one. So it was, the parties there was yourself, the Kfcb, their CEO, Inspector General of Police, and Director of Public Prosecutions, only for the sole purpose, the IG and the DPP were present only for the sole purpose of ensuring that certain types of arrests don't happen to,
like what happened to Getumbe.
What happened to Getumbe, surely. I mean, film license ni kitu ya kwenda kushtua. What they did to him was nasty. It was not nice, because he called me at the middle of the night. Getumbe is built, I'm based in Nairobi. Getumbe is based in Eldoret. So he calls me, he's like, hey bro, what's going on? So he spent the night, but they did release him on bail. Funny enough, they have never proceeded with the criminal case. Nini. So it's a scare tactic. That,
criminal case ilikuwa? Now what?
It is a criminal offense in Kenya to film without a film license. So they arrested Getumbe for failing to obtain a filming license and wanted to charge him the same in court. But it has never proceeded. I think the uproar against the same. There are certain laws you don't implement, even if they exist. There is an offense in Kenya, funny enough, there's an offense of bigamy, having two spouses, which is very ironic because we have polygamy in our society.
Also,
it's still there. It's still there. It's an offense to have. It doesn't even make sense because now we have a marriage act that allows for African customary marriages, that says, in fact, African customary marriages, you can have as many as you want. Muslims are allowed up to 4. Those are the 2 that allow different types of marriages. So there are certain offenses that there are others like blasphemy that are just not implemented.
Blasphemy against the law.
An offense.
You know, we break mara mingi because I think anything that someone who's not a believer says is blasphemic, So, sikuwa najua. Because hiyo pia it beats in a bit freedom of expression. Because that's a conflict.
That is one of the points I have raised in both of the petitions. Freedom of expression, freedom of the media, freedom from discrimination, which is what led to now yourself and the rest getting letters. Those are the issues.
So kuna mtu atasema tulikuwa discriminated on how?
You see, even still, and this is why there's one thing I think I've told you earlier. I've looked at that act in my honest opinion, and I've asked, a few others, persons senior to myself in the profession, is if that entire act is constitutional. I look at it. I think when I looked at it first, I thought certain sections were not constitutional. The more I look at it, the more I look at what is the definition of a film. And a film in that law states that it's under section 2, I believe, is that any audiovisual content. And in fact, in Getumbe's petition, I'll also raise it in yours. Is court proceedings happen virtually. So do we go and ask the government for a license
to have the court proceeding?
To proceed with court? There's... it doesn't really make sense. So it's one of those things that the entire act, because if you're saying all audiovisual content, if I take TikTok. If you take TikTok, if you take
Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and the future ones that are coming, even like in a Snapchat, bro, I'm sure there's some stuff that's coming in Latujui. The way technology changes.
The way Zoom came in, in during COVID. Court now is proceeding virtually. It's just one of those things. Let's just move past it. The government agenda of the day is to create digital jobs. So I'm sure even them, government doesn't like to repeal its own laws. You want to retain a certain amount of power. And it's of all governments, not just this one. Across the world, across different countries, previous administrations. But it's one of those things, you realize greater freedoms when you let go of other freedoms. That you think are within your capacity as government.
Because this thing has created a lot of jobs. Like I was looking at some of the footage Obina akiwa Kitale. So like there's Obina security, there's Obina like so many jobs being created that if you start micromanaging, because the law also said something that was very ridiculous, and that was like every video, before any video is posted on YouTube, lazima ipelekwe kwa Kfcb. How many YouTubers exist?
Do they even have the capacity? So what they've done in retaliation is to propose, but it's not law. They have to propose certain regulations on what is they're calling self-regulation.
Yes.
I feel so. I don't want to say I feel sorry for them, but you cannot regulate on unconstitutional statute.
Yes.
You cannot say the law is bad, so now let's create finer regulations to
so now what's the finer regulation? What's this?
So this that's what I'm saying. Those finer regulations are what they are proposing they want to do, which is do what they are calling self-regulation.
Okay.
So they want say like you form your own ways of regulating yourself as podcasters, as content creators. It can't work unless you redo the act. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Whether or not they are prepared to confront themselves with that's best left to them. But lazima wajite mkutano.
Alafu niko naona one of the things I noticed from when you filed the lawsuit and they replied, I saw the thing where they threaten you with, we are going to make sure you pay for all the legal fees of Nini. But uko nasema this is a public interest case.
We are going to
so why is it a public interest case? Kuna cause vile nilikwambia I need to put a disclaimer IKONINI, because IKONINI, the what the word means, what the phrase means is I'm telling you what I'm telling you, IKONINI, you deal with the consequences. So kuna watu waga very sensitive, so like when you say a different opinion they get offended, and then isojo kuna watu vile nilisema I'm fighting this case, kuna watu walisema tuko tunataka kukusaidia. I'm like, no, you're not trying to help me. You see, me fighting Kfcb is not an individual fight. It's not like if the case is thrown out, Mwafrika peke yake ndiye ata benefit. So Mr. Kwanki get license, but Obina will need a license. Nani, it's any person wins, every Kenyan wins.
Every content creator wins. Yes, every Kenyan actually, because everybody, I mean, the moment, another thing I've not talked about this that I raised is if you have a smartphone, you paid for it, umeshalipia tax, and you're using it now. Why are you now being subjected that phone, as you use it, you have to pay certain licensing fees on the same? You're using it in the comfort of your home, you're using it in the comfort of the space that you belong to. You're not even using it in a public space. And you want you to pay licensing fees on that. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. So another thing I've raised is it's infringing on your property rights. Because your phone is your property.
Alafu like mtukame literally this is a home studio. Like you know, like awezi but now unaweza explain out why it's public interest, not about Africa.
Sorry about that. It's public interest because it affects the public. It affects the general public. It affects how we interact with our constitutional freedoms. You have the freedom of media. Today you're expressing it right now by having this podcast. So am I by coming on this. Freedom of expression here as well. Same for every other guest, every other podcast that exists. If we do not protect these freedoms, they can be infringed upon to a point at which that we can go to a dictatorial state.
Yes.
Fortunately, we have a robust constitution. I don't think it will get there.
Yeah, okay.
But if it does, we are in for a very rough time. But I don't think so, because if you look at even government policy, you know, the moment this administration came into power, their manifesto and what became part of their guiding principles. So if you look at the Kenya Kwanza manifesto, you look at what their first budget policy statement 2023, which is what they did. What, at least on paper, their policy is that they want to create digital jobs. And to that effect, then there must be some goodwill on their part to help the same. So I believe it's just one of those things. This law is from 1962. It predates everyone. It's older than the current president. It's an old law. It's a very old law.
When cameras used to be kibeba hivi, alafu you have to stop the whole village. It was very disruptive.
It's a very old law. So it's one of those things that just let's move past it. We are a different society in 1962, pre-independence. We have a lot of gains to show. Let's move positively. I think it's something that if truly, and if this administration give it a lot of thought, they'll just put it to bed and let's move on. It's not one of those things that they should be wasting time on.
Because I think tulikuwa na Jalango here, and when I asked him about it, he actually said the HE was angry when we heard about it, because he was there like, jinga gani ina happen.
Really?
So right now we have Itumbi as the guy for creative economy, and but still inakuonyesha the fact that we can try to do that. For me, even another way of public interest is job creation. You see, like I was employed by mainstream media, left, now I do this. Obina was employed by mainstream media, left, does this. Someone like Lin Ngugi, employed by digital media, right now is one of the biggest. The way we know Mungai Eve. These are jobs that have been created that the government had very little to do with, except providing internet. So that helps you, because this is a few people to worry about when it comes to job creation. So I feel like that's also public interest, Ama?
Definitely. It's job creation is as you know, there's a job crisis, not just in Kenya. You have to leave Kenya to realize how like we have it bad. Don't get me wrong, we have it bad, but it is worse in our neighboring countries and across the continent. Job creation is something that we have a youth bulge. There are no jobs. There are no capacity to even bring those jobs is very difficult, and it will take a very deliberate approach to fix that. But one like low-hanging fruit is this digital thing. I've seen one of your previous videos where you talk about create internet and buzz off.
I always say that.
Well, not create internet, but facilitate
cheaper internet.
If today you can get internet at 500 bob, 1,000 bob, max 2K, you can create so much content. For very young people, and by doing content creation, monetization. In that regard, I must say you have to give the president his flowers. He has done a bit for monetization. But that being said, also it's also part of the TikTok and Facebook and Meta. They're also going out of their way to try and monetize across the different needs. But I also know that wamejaribu hapo kidogo. Kidogo tu.
Kitumia hata nikisemaga juu internet, I think watu assume that I'm talking about content creation. When it comes to artists, for example, when I tell Sakaja, we need cheaper internet, don't bring up studios, people will figure it out. But I also mean things like farming. On the internet, mtu ataenda, atafundishwa farming techniques that they'd never. So hata ukiwa mashinani, unaweza learn, okay, if I want my Nini to survive, I need to do this. If my chicken is sick, these are the things I need to look out for. Is it bacteria? Is it, because the internet is a library. So I feel like that's another way. Suangaliaga internet tunafikiria jia content creation peke yake. There are consumers who consume it as a means of knowledge, getting knowledge, yes? So unapata hii knowledge. Kama mimi, like, one of the things I'm really passionate about, I'm always talking about ni, instead of saving money, put your money in a money market. One of the ways I learned about that was through the internet. Nacheki. So this is not content. This is just me knowing that instead of niweke 1 million kwa account, ikaya hapo ikilala, anaweza iweka kwa kitu ingine na at least kwa ikigrow, hata kama ni pole pole. So internet is also kuna knowledge. So nikisemaga hiyo story ya internet, then nini, it's other industries will come as a result of the internet. Uber and Bolt, that's internet based. They are not content creators. So I feel like the internet is everything. It's you make it cheaper, and people, it's easier access to knowledge. It's it creates jobs. I feel like it does so much.
It definitely is. People usually say education is a great equalizer, and the internet is also proving to be the same. In that regard, we need to, if we can figure out this thing about cheaper internet and accessibility to it, and just give people room to do their thing in that space, it could prove to be a very huge solution. It's something that we would actually need to study closely at the Treasury, at the different state departments and agencies.
Because another way, look at how internet has changed the life of Bradley Goliath.
Precisely. The guy is just tall.
The Goliath Gen Z.
Yeah, he's just tall.
Before internet, but after that, because visibility, companies have come on board, sponsored. So these companies, it's not even about content. It's about your visibility, advertising their businesses. I think someone was telling me, I think there's someone in Kenya who is normally live on TikTok when shop yake iko open, and they use lights solar. So all his content is around his shop. Yes, anauza tu. So you see, like, internet, it does so much. It's commerce, it's what, it's so mtu kwake akiwa TikTok, it's not content creation, it's literally advertising their businesses. And lakini pia tukiangalia companies like Jumia, like what, so the internet is really important, and that's why your other public interest case ni what versus what.
So I got instructions from Kituo cha Sheria to represent them on public interest matter, on the right to internet, and trying to keep it affordable.
Okay.
The case is framed as Kituo cha Sheria versus Communications Authority, Competition Authority, and I think there are two interested parties there. COFEC, Consumers Federation of Kenya, and the Law Society of Kenya. The right to internet is one thing. We don't actually, it's not a prescribed right in our constitution, it's not. But one of the things we hope to bring out is that we filed a brief on behalf of Kituo cha Sheria, who are doing it in the interest of Kenyan internet consumers.
Yes.
It's one of the more technical, I must say, someone who has done most of what I do is just public interest litigation.
Yes.
It's one of the more technical things I've worked on. That brief took me quite some time. We worked with a gentleman by the name Ahmed Sigat. It's one of those things that I didn't know I was very passionate about the internet until I worked on it together with Ahmed.
So kwa watu wajui, this all came up because of Safaricom.
So that letter, yes. we saw the letter on Twitter. We saw it, and Ahmed and I just decided, you know what, let's discuss this thing and see how it goes. We looked at it. So at this point in time, what we think generally is that it's a threat. It's not because the regulator is the Communications Authority, who haven't acted. Credit to them.
Yes.
At least in the public eye, so far as I know, they have not actioned on anything that SAF has done, has said to them, rather. SAF are requesting for scrutiny on Starlink. They think it would be bad for business. They think it would be bad for us, the internet consumers.
Yes.
They are saying that it will disrupt the markets, which I do think will happen. But I also believe that it would be good. I mean, bro, 1300, 50 GB, and you're busy saying you want to sell it for 6K? No. We must have a conversation. SAF has had a monopoly on this thing for a while. They are essentially, in my understanding, it could be wrong, is that they're actually making very serious threats to the internet consumer in Kenya. Me personally, I don't care for Starlink as a company. They can do whatever they want. But if you're giving a cheaper solution, then and it's fast. I mean, 200 Mbps. I don't think anyone's getting that
for 6500.
Yeah.
Like right now, I remember seeing a certain post here, someone in Ireland, because Ireland huko watu wamechukua a lot of Starlink. Speeds zimeanza kufika 417. So for 417, and they're still charging you around $50. You see, that's really good. And the only thing Safaricom needs to do on the Kenyan side, because I'm both a Safaricom consumer and a Starlink. So with that, nasemaga ni simple. Just reduce prices za Kenya, double speed zetu, and no one is going nowhere. No one wants to kwenda na dish kwanza kuitafuta internet, because pia Starlink watoja deal nayo, they romanticize it as this. No, it's not. Starlink pia kuna risk of theft. Say dish ikioko juu mtu anaweza kama ikate, kwa Kenya ni wezi, but akikata ataweza kuitumia, but in the meantime ataikata akifikiria anaweza itumia. Of course ukireport kwa Starlink this specific dish because kuna digital footprint, they won't be able to use it, but there is the risk of theft. There is the risk of like buildings springing up everywhere. So today you might be seeing a view of the sky, tomorrow you don't have. So kuna nini, but so this is not even about, it's just about we need affordable internet. I think that's even the term to use.
One of the things that I have, I don't know if I already mentioned this, but is that we must declare the right and use of internet as a socio-economic right.
Yes.
That listen, it's like education at this point, great equalizer. If we do not protect the ability of Kenyans to use the internet legally, you can hold some people back. Truly. It's one of those things, even the government acknowledges it, because they have is it 100,000 kilometer plan. Whether or not it's being implemented is a whole other story.
Ile na wanataka kufanya na KPLC.
I've seen it na KPLC.
Which I think now Safaricom was going to gain from that.
It's possible. It's possible because I mean they also have the largest infrastructure network in Kenya. So I don't think you can do it without Safaricom.
Because even like right now, because Starlink wameanza kufanya, they've started doing the straight to mobile internet. And even I think the Competition Authority of Kenya, if they were to look at that, I don't know how legal it would be, but I feel like a competitor needs to be given the first priority. Because if you give that to Safaricom, automatically it becomes a monopoly. And you see, monopoly does not help us at the end of the day. Because even like Kenya Power is in a monopoly. It's unreliable, it's expensive, they make losses. Like, how does a monopoly make a loss?
I think it's we need to get an economist on that one.
Like hakuna mtu anauza stima, ni wewe peke yako.
Na bado unatengeneza
losses.
It's a crazy one. It's we are having ripe, good conversations. That's what that's the thing I'm happy about. We're having good conversations. We're having conversations about there's nimefanya economics kidogo, but I didn't finish. We are having conversations about means of production, internet as a means of production, power as a means of production, just over-regulation in terms of frustrating people, creating content. It's one of those things that we need to, we at least we're having the conversation, as opposed to just frustrating people out of it. we will just see where it goes.
Yeah. What?
I'm positive that we can move forward on that.
Okay. Okay. So tukimalizia mimi nafaa kuwa worried that KFCB watakuja wani arrest in the middle of the night and also am I selfish for thinking that this is something that every Kenyan should be worried about as long as you have a smartphone? Because
it is, actually, I thought I'd mentioned this before I came here. Nilipitia CBD. Bro, I have never actually seen it like I did today.
Yeah.
Today is Sunday evening as we record.
Yes.
Bro, kumeja. Kumeja.
Photographers. I always give Nani credit for that. Like I criticize Sakaja kabisa, but majuzi hata tuko hapa na yeye nikimwambia like Sakaja is the one who's made it possible for people to shoot in the middle of town without any worry. And
funny enough, you know what, Moff? It is illegal right now. It's illegal. But look at how many jobs are out there. Look at how young people are spending good time together. There's no drugs, there's no what. Guys are just, they're doing their thing. You know, it's a good vibe. Like ukiona Nini, the way I've seen CBD right now, nikikam, that's how CBD should be every day. It's young people, it's people who, I mean, the place that I saw was it was packed almost like the way it was during those days of Mandamano. Like that's what it is like. As of an hour and a half ago, just before I came, bro, it was packed. It was packed.
Photographers taking pictures.
Guys have the lights, the what, and you can see that young people, I don't know how it's happening, but it's like they can raise the capital for those things.
Yes.
So this story of you're going to do a studio or what, man, leave that thing alone. Just the guys who want to be in that space will figure it out. Just bring down the cost. It's like fuel. Bring down the cost of internet. Bring down the cost of
doing business
of imports on these the lights, the what. If once you do that, just leave it alone. Those guys will sort themselves out.
And the money will still come back to the government. Because as long as people are making money, because I normally feel like that's one of the things ile mupenda kusema kwa hii show. Sometimes I feel like African leaders do not understand that if the country is rich and you are rich, you end up richer. That's 100%. Why, like Trump, because Trump is in a rich country, he's that rich because people have spending power. When people have no spending power, like because Kenya inakuaga like Mombasa, there's some level of spending power. Nairobi kuna the more you go zile mashinani, you find less and less spending power. And this means that wealth, if you're wealthy and you're distributing vitu, kuna place hauwezi distribute because hakutakuwa na buyers. And I feel like tukikam ku notice your story, like the more money is in Kenyans pockets, the richer will get even. But I don't know.
It's I hope we're headed in that direction, because at least there's many more at least mid-aged millennials and slightly older millennials who are now getting into very serious positions of power, who are realizing that. I'm hoping that as we progress in another 5-10 years, we can be in a good place.
Okay. So hii kesi yangu na KFCB, like when's the next mention? The next
September 23rd.
September 23rd.
Up for September 23rd. Now on that one, there's another wakili who picked up on it. We are consolidated.
Okay.
We're doing what is called a consolidated petition. So we filed yours, and he filed theirs. I don't know who is representing. But now KFCB realized they have two cases that are the same.
Okay.
So they have been joined into one. We're going to have what is called a consolidated petition.
Okay.
So we're going to proceed in such a manner, which is why it's taken a bit of time.
Afu saizi move watu Nairobi because started in LD.
It's NLD.
Is it still in LD?
No. We've even been given a new file number and what. We got it this past week.
So itakuwa na a physical date ama this time ni digital?
No, it's all digital again. It's all digital.
So is there a way citizens join?
You can join. I'll send you a link.
Okay. Because I don't want to join and just see like can happen. And I feel like we need to
it's massively boring. This is the fun part of talking.
I know. But I feel like one of the things mupendaga ni freedom of expression and the ability to agree to disagree. And I've come to notice that it's such a foreign concept in Kenya and we don't even know it. So Kenya, unajua, I think the way we are taught, there's something I had Caroline Mtoko say back in the days, and he stayed with me. Mtoko alikuwa anapana story ya when kids from different schools visit Radio Africa and the way they behave. So alikuwa anasema like when public school students visit, they don't ask questions wako hivi. They're all quiet. But when private school kids go, they are very bubbly. They are asking like, what? Okay, what do you do? What's your job description? What's your...
Man, that's sad.
Yes.
That's
but
sad.
Now you can look at it from the society point of view, where anytime you ask something that's out of the norm, watu wanashindwa like, why are you doing that? Why are you not following the direction sisi wote tunaenda? So freedom of expression is very important, and I feel like the internet and peer content creation protect that. So yes, so it's going to be interesting. I mean, niko nauliza tu ile kuinaweza ta kuchungulia alafu si ati kukaa hapo the whole day, because pia mimi nadependiki like we shoot so many shows I don't think I have niko na hiyo time ya kukaa hapo nini, but it would be interesting like watu lakini but I still want people to know that at least I'm fighting back, because I remember kuna mtu aliniambia hiyo story ya wewe unabonga siasa instead of bonga the story ya content creation. I'm like tayari tuko kotini. It's right now it's how many months? It's like
we're in about
since May. It's like over 4 months.
Yeah, it's about 4 months, but we haven't really proceeded much. But hopefully now we'll start making some good progress. We've already filed our documents. They have responded. We have a right of rejoinder, which we will take from 23rd. Maybe usually they give about, this is just an estimate, they give about a month. It's what I'm anticipating. We may or may not amend it, because I'm seriously questioning the whether or not that act is relevant in this this constitutional dispensation.
If another thing konda kuuliza, if I as a Kenyan content creator needs to take my stuff to KFCB for it to be consumed in Kenya. Back in the days, before a movie was shown to the Kenyan public, it still had to go through KFCB.
Not just back in the days, to this day.
To this day. So does that mean that also before video a Diamond, it was shown in Kenya, Diamond needs to give it to KFCB?
Now you're asking the right questions, Marv. I am asking also, and I'm putting it to the court. When they make their judgment, they'll tell us. So what about those guys who, because Kfcb has the mandate to regulate all films consumed in Kenya.
Yes.
Where they are made is irrelevant.
Yes.
So what happens when I watch a YouTube video from the States, from Australia?
They should supposed to give him
They're supposed to get an approval from Kfcb if that's how we choose to interpret the law.
And that means that if I'm looking for knowledge, remember the way I was saying, like, for example, I always joke na mtoi wangu namwambiaga like you, when you start learning some of these complex subjects, it's going to be so easy for you because you can just watch a YouTube video and see the stars, see the earth, see the what. So before mtoi wangu ona hii video juu ya earth and the universe and the planets, that content creator needs to give that video to KFCB.
Exactly.
You understand? Like it's such a, like, opening a Pandora's box. Like, where does it stop?
Why they have to now? I must say, historically, I've looked at KFCB. If you look at KFCB from 1962, when then the act was passed, I think it was operationalized. They became a proper institution 1963 thereabouts. 69, I can't remember. Until 2013. By and large, they would only like frustrate content creators who made political content. So the likes of, I think it's Ngugi wa Thiong'o, was seriously hampered by this thing. But you could regulate that because he's performing in a theater. You go to the theater and switch things off. You go to the film Nini and say, oh, this film is not showing. That happened to this. She's an amazing director. She made this film that was shown in Cannes Film Festival. Wanjiru, I forget her name. I'm so sorry.
I think I remember
Her film was banned because it was expressing LGBT
I remember
content. You can stop that. Now here, social media, ngori. You can have the law. Maybe you might even win in court, but you will not stop it anyways.
Because alafu pia tukibonga discrimination, if you are to stop me as a Kenyan from shooting within Kenya because my stuff is being exhibited in Kenya, how are you going to allow another content creator wa nchi ingine aonyeshane vitu zake hapa Kenya? You see, because that's now it's discriminating me as a, sindio?
100%.
So it's such an interesting nini. Alafu bado I always joke that people can still access Pornhub. So
even Nini, you know, I was looking at it and I texted you this. Even OnlyFans, they've never stopped an OnlyFans baby from doing what she does. I just think it's so ironic that Getumbe was the one who has been harassed.
So, a girl like, you know, Alicia Kanini.
I've heard about her. Yeah.
So Alicia, if they were to arrest her, is it a public interest case, like for you now? Because she literally acts
what she does, what Getumbe did, and even our podcast where us were just vibing and talking. We are all in the same box.
Oh, okay.
We are all in the same box.
I like for that it's pornographic material.
Hers would be a bit different, but ultimately the constitutional right to freedom of expression and what media and what is a and the question of do you need a filming license to use social media is a very we are all hanging on the same thread.
Yes.
Yeah, but of course now what Alicia does and what that's a whole other different. I wouldn't take such a case. Reason being, this is
I know,
and yeah, it's just publicity that.
Hata nikifanya hivi kuna watu wanajua kwa nini nafanya hivi sasa. Haukona, she just took this and put it wherever in her hoo-ha. We're like, hey. Has it's crazy. And I think the only problem we have na Alicia, it's someone I'd want to have on the podcast. But kitumuta kaga, like I'd want her to know is, inasemekana gani over 80% of female adult film actors suffer from depression and suicidal thoughts after retiring. 0% of men actors suffer from that. Because there's a way a society views you. And we always lie to ourselves that we don't care what other people think, but we are humans like by nature supetaga kuwa part of a community. So if you're looked at as the najua, it affects you mentally. So a lot of actors who suffer from that. So it's fun, and then pia the return on investment. Porn career is very good for white women, like they are the highest earners. Black women wanakuwaga hapa chini, so it's not a career path that.
But you know, when I look at that thing, the issue of young women getting into that industry, bro, it's a jobs thing.
Yeah,
it's a jobs thing. I'm willing to bet if you, I don't know how old she is, but she's young.
Yeah, 21, 22.
If you. It's not a first. I would like to believe it's not your first.
Yes, to do that.
It's not your first. Kind of job that you think of. But well and good, you know.
Good luck to her. Me personally, musomaga fanya whatever you're doing. Do I support it? No, because I feel like at some point it's going to affect her mentally, and it won't be worth it because you don't earn enough. Kenyans are not subscribers. We don't.
You know how much she earns?
I don't know how much, but we are not. Like, because Hamaju, they earn a lot of money because they have that culture, subscription and supporting. So unless apate some mubabas, because nilicheki kuna an American guy who ended up committing suicide, but he'd spent kwa OnlyFans, I think on one account, he'd spent over $60,000 on one person. At some point, he ended up amejidisha kwa nafikiri ati the girl alikuwa memnoki. So of course, if Alicia was to get such a person, milk kabisa. Milk that white guy from whatever. But Africa wise, it's going to be hard. And now hata yeye mwenyewe nikiangalia the way even she goes around it is she has a male partner ile wana perform pamoja. The most successful OnlyFans ni yule the girl is alone. So that these other guys, she can have a conversation with these other guys. The minute you bring in a male, alafu it's a black person, you kill your whole white market. You kill like she's.
You've studied this thing too.
Yeah, wakaniwe studies vitu mbaya. Watu wananijuaga naambia watu like on a random day I can be on Pornhub. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, Morgan nime. So I think she's going around about it the wrong way. But even apart from the money, what she'll do when she's older is what's messed up, because the internet never forgets. The internet never forgets.
Okay.
So that video that you posted yesterday will be relevant 20 years from now. Like the most interesting thing, kwana cheki tukimalizia, nashinda tukisema tukimalizia. But majuzi tulikuwa na Oktopizo hapa. And then I remember telling Okto like, hey, kuna hii clip tulifanya na wewe back in the days. I don't think I have it. So there's an infamous clip ya Okto iliyoambia gatu enda uoge, acha ujinga, acha mchezo, something like that. So hii clip, it was me and best yangu anaitwa Ian. We are the ones who recorded him. This is back in the days, I think like it was 2013 huko. But then it was an IKONINI version that we were trying to sell to mainstream TV. So the fact that Upper Kenya, we don't respect IP, intellectual I never took it seriously. So when the show didn't work out, I lost that footage. Lakini, so majuzi tuko na Okto namwambia like, eh, unakunga ile kitu yako enda uoge, kuna vile imetembea. Alafu kaniambia like, hey, I even addressed this on mic check. Alafu niko like, nikamuuliza, unamkumbuka we actually did that, ilikuwa ni sisi na wewe? I don't think he remembered that. So by the time na shooting, I'm yet to watch mic check, because it's the same day that mic check imedu. So leo I go on the internet and I see Okto has posted hiyo nini ya enda uoge. He'd posted it. But you see the way I'm saying, like, this is something we shot close to over 10 years ago.
10 years ago,
The internet never forgets. So everything that Udem anadu saizi, when she's very young, the internet will never forget. When she's 60, the internet will be there to remind you, this is what you are doing. If she plans to have a family, the kids will have to go through your fight. Najua kama boy, buda madhako alikuwa, now you have to, like, it's... The internet is interesting, son.
So we're living in interesting times where stuff about you can be brought up later. It's crazy. It happens to everyone. It's not just her. It's everyone. So you can, I'm sure you'll find a cringe video of me somewhere doing something when I was younger. I'm sure even now you're always in front of the media.
I mean,
you guys bring stuff up.
Kuna vitu zangu za kitambo zila so bring up. But sasa najua the best thing ile pia ni it shows your growth, like you've come from here, you've grown into this, you've grown into this. Because even for me, niki go back to your clip, the fact that your time, like the way even we used to shoot that IKONINI, we'd go to places, but now I don't even have the footage. But now, kitu nimesahau kusema ni, so now I'm having this discussion. So tuko na Ian baadaye after Oktopizo has left. So naambia Ian like, eh, buda jo, hii footage ya nini jo, hii ya enda uoge ya Okto, where can I get it, man? I lost that thing. Do you have any copy? So him is like, I'll go and check copies zangu nionekana niko nayo. Then my nephew, who's the editor, is like, but hiki tu siko kwa IKONINI the YouTube page. It's there. Naambia no, it's not there. Then he shows me the specific video. Nena naipata. The internet never forgets. So tikami nilikuwa, I knew he said it on IKONINI. But I didn't know when to find it. So watu wajue bana, internet haisahau. That's why tunaifightia, because it's apart from knowledge, it's also a library.
I was reading, I know we are finishing, but I was reading something, you know, about the great library of, is it Alexandria? And like how losing that library held humanity back like 1,000 years. I feel like if we lost the internet, the right to access, we hold each other, we hold ourselves down. Which is why we are fighting for its access, its freedom of use. That act of, we need a place, a gateway to switch things off. If we want to stop films, we can be able to stop them right where they are. If we want to stop the access to the internet, tuna mali ya kuzimia, we need to move past that. That's we need to accept that we're a society that can regulate ourselves. We have different opinions, we have different points of view, and everyone has, it's like a spectrum. But there's a mainstream, and then there are certain things maybe we can say beyond which we are not going to go. But if you're within, and even if it's not comfortable to watch, comfortable to talk about, man, you can leave that to that side of the internet and just let people be themselves. I believe that policing and that police mentality, like treating people like children, and even children don't deserve to be monitored in such a way. Just let human beings be human beings, bro. It's my philosophy.
Yeah, but Mark, asante sana.
Cheers, bro. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and pia asante for these public interest things, because these cases will help. Pia zitakuwa legacy yako, and the legacy is important. I feel like sometimes we don't know legacies.
Okay.
But legacy ni poa. Itakuwa like wasatakuwa remember when then jinako
I don't know about that, but I mean, but time will tell.
Yes, time will tell. I've always been obsessed with legacy. I always feel like when I'm gone, I'd want people to remember I did 1, 2, 3 things. So to me, I find it to be super important. That's why sometimes more like Kenyan politicians and like Utaki legacy, like they are governors who no one will ever remember. They are governors.
They are governors we don't remember who served one term from 2013 to 20. We don't remember them
because it's nothing that you did. Like why?
Like this one who was arrested the other day. I forgot about him. I just remembered him because he was arrested the other day.
Oh, former Samburu. The one who was pregnant. The male guy who was pregnant.
They were pregnant and suffering from pregnancy-related illness.
Yes.
Very strange.
Right. I think pregnant from corruption. I think.
Bro.
Yeah. So kama kawaida vile susamaga like, subscribe, hit the notification button, tell a friend to tell a friend. Tukimalizia tukisema eko nene.
Eko nini.